Extreme characters, all the X characters, our favorites, rarity in the game, almost as useless as hero characters right now, but not as much so. What is the history of these characters? For people who haven't played the game since day one, I think now I'm gonna explain to them how insane the extreme characters were. Keep your hopes down with that. They used to be better, but not all of them. If we look at the list here, I even sorted by card numbers, so it's ordered in releases. They always have been mostly kinda whatever units. I mean, you guys think really that these X-Tau used to be like really crazy or anything? No. But they had a more PvP purpose than they have now, I would say. We're gonna ignore these EX Zenkers for later because obviously they haven't been around since day one. But back then, EX characters, or extreme characters, however you want to call them, were, I would say, more interesting. They had more, I would say, depths and more focuses in it, or unique abilities to kind of make them work. I think this EX Fasha used to be not good, but interesting because she had death bust and increased the amount of damage your enemies get, which nowadays the amount doesn't matter because everyone can just cancel it or immune to it. But back in the day, 30% extra damage was not extra damage, but like the enemy's defense got reduced by 30%. That was, I would say, pretty significant actually back in the day. But I mean, besides that, we have to, like, for example, that EX I don't know if that was specifically for PvP back then, but here green card we do sub counts and flash and together with barter crits. That used to be a thing. What else what other units can I show you that were really good? I think that EX Broly back in the day, he had a lock-in for 3-time accounts 2 times, got, I would say, good damage, extra damage against Sun Family or Goku in particular, and did really good damage to it. So, an extreme character, again, a unit that you could actually use in PvP, and I think one of the more units that people remember, that EX Red Bull Leader. I think he released in the 2nd anniversary. That guy was like, he was like basically a sparking disguise, man. This guy had good damage, he had support for fusions and fusion warriors, like you see it for fusion warriors, 10% damage, stacks up to 30 and 20 ki, which doesn't sound crazy now, but back then giving 30% extra damage that nobody can cancel, like there haven't been much buff or upgrades cancellation back then, and 20 ki, really good. He had good tanking, card draw speed. His blue card had blast or something that some units kinda even later sparkings didn't have. So vanishes store one time for his green card. Like, this guy actually was a usable unit. I use, for example, that green EX Vegeta because Vegeta clan main obviously, but also because he had a vanish removing ability and a good blue card. Now, looking at that happened in history, if this game still get EX characters, the only problem with EX characters, which is even now to a problem, probably will be forever a problem, is that they have an extremely low pull rate. Getting an EX character to 14 stars by summoning takes probably twice as long as 47 Ultra character. That's how bad these rarities are, because every banner they're gonna put down every extreme character that has been released in this game and give them the same pull rate as the new one. The new EX, as far as I know, don't get another pull, higher pull rate, just like 1% new, 1% sparking, so new labs or Ultra characters. They have the lowest pull rate, the same pull rate as every other EX, so pulling them multiple times or even once can be quite hard. Sometimes you would never pull them even though you have like the other units already done. So this is a problem. But besides that, what's the difference between these extreme characters back then and why they are not as good right now? I think no one is using, for example, never use like this new Champa or this Gohan or this GT Trunks. What happened? What's the difference here? Even though some of them have interesting things. First of all, there has been occasions where extreme characters actually had some value about right now, but this is more relatable to, for example, these two tag EX characters which they actually introduced. These two in particular have been actually kinda useful, so they weren't like horrible, but again, star issues are a thing. Kinda need high stars in PvP, and getting extreme characters high stars can take probably a while because it's not that easy to draw these characters. And what also changed, I think, is simply how the game functions. And what I mean is that you nowadays need a lot more to be really good in PvP or usable, and the more time they have to spend on new extreme characters to make them good means there will probably be less time for them to focus on the sparkings and or ultra or whatever else they're gonna bring out. So I think they simply stop wasting as much time or consuming their energy on extremes. And I think even if you look at I mean, there are some, again, these guys, for example, they don't bring as much EX characters as they used to be, like maybe 2 or 3 in the year every now and then at most. But even then, they have been interesting, but not good enough. I mean, that EX Cooler probably is just only interesting for giving Charakters and Endurance no blue card. That's really it. Like the tag characters, I think most of these guys didn't really matter. And even if you're looking now at EX Zenkais, who's the last one who got a Zenkai? I think at this point it's probably Yellow Extreme Cell, which maybe got a Zenkai years ago at this point, and they kind of have stopped doing this. Some of these EX Zenkais used to be really good. I think it was probably only like the first 2 or 3, and then later on it became kind of, and then whatever. I think that Boo maybe was still pretty good, but maybe got Ginyu. But yeah, this is as far as it goes. And so now the question is, what the hell is the purpose of extreme characters then if they are, you know, downgraded to not being relevant in PvP? And the answer is very simple, but something that people probably don't like. That is, ta-da! TOP! Our favorite game modes. Yay! Yeah, the thing is with TOP, there used to be a time where you just basically run a bunch of Zenkais. I think Androids and LOE specifically had like, you could lose like all the all the Zenkai units they had, and they were like in a high tier, and you just simply wanna that very easily for the boost characters. But nowadays, and that's something they changed at some point. If you look at here at the Z tier, you see a bunch of extreme characters and very old sparkings. So this is, for example, why I can even go to my character list here. I think that's a bit quicker than going through that one. I mean, if you look at my team, which I prepare right now for TOP, and we go into, yeah, if you even go to Z, you already see that new red Frieza, the yellow Cooler, but you also the green Trunks and the purple Bardock here. You see a bunch of extremes that are kinda up here, and if you could, let's just go to E. How many extreme characters are good? Not as many. Like, it gets less and less. Let's see, I think there are actually a few. Okay, but this also depends on the season, but generally speaking, a lot of the EX characters are kind of up here. This is why I use, for example, for TP, this Dispo and Topo here. For example, there used to be a time where I've even used that Jiren or that Champa here. So this is kind of the thing they do with extreme characters. I think at this point it's not worth mentioning or looking at them on a PvP end, because they simply don't put enough time and thought process into these extreme characters to the point where it's worth using in PvP, and I think they're only more like a TUP mode functionality nowadays. So if you guys are hoping for good extreme characters, I would honestly say don't even consider that anymore. We are past the time. There used to be a time where even I was like, oh, new extreme character, I hope they were really good. Like again, back in the day when characters like Extreme Extreme Vegeta, Gogeta, I think even the Cell was interesting, or the EX Zenkais, that Yellow Broly, back in the day, or even now and then, sometimes the EX tag units. I think the tag units, if they ever bring another tag, the Extreme character, I think that's the one you can look at and be like, okay, for that one we can actually look for PvP, but I think the rest of them, honestly, just at this point, that's a ship that's already sank to the ground and never comes back. So yeah, that is for the extremes, which used to be really interesting, but now sadly they're just not worth mentioning anymore. Which brings us to the kind of next thing, which don't know. Give me 1 second. Alright, I had to fix something quickly. Okay, now we can look now of the next thing, which is event exclusives. Oh boy. Which are, I would say, they have been also not. I would say they had a better, I would say, time span and experience than obviously extreme characters, because they're sparkings in a higher rarity. But at this point, they start to fall off and get kind of put in the same unfortunate box of being used for TUP, especially with the release of these new 3 random ass 1% sparkings, which I don't know what they are doing. But you can look back and see they're, in comparison to obviously extreme haters, there have been a lot of very cool and unique event exclusive sparkings. I mean, the list is really large. Like that Vegito used to be really good. I think the Goku days characters were interesting, but didn't age that well. I think that Vegeta was fine, maybe, I'm not sure. That Yellow Goku Black was kind of interesting. That Green Frieza was actually really good. That was one of the units that you can really use in PvP. He released around the time where after Gogeta, like Ultra Gogeta, Ultra Gogeta and the Blue Boys came out. And I used them a lot. Obviously, I like RE, and the one thing I like to do was like use a green card with purple Frieza, switch in with this guy, use my main blue card and one-shot Gogetas. That's how good these sparkings will have. That yellow Trunks back there here was I think when he released, probably in the top 10. Like that's how good event exclusive characters back then were. Obviously there were some extreme duds like that Vegeta or that Cell. I think even these TUP characters here back in the day were actually interesting. That Broly was also really good. That's one of the very rare situations where they get an event exclusive character Endurance. So, and yeah, the one that probably most people remember is probably this Legend Sword Goku who got a Zenkai. And man, that Zenkai, was he the best character in the game or something? He was something around that. That's how good this guy was. And back then, also giving event exclusive characters some Zenkais. I think that Blue 21 was interesting. Legends Road Zenkais were really, for me, what was very special. I don't think many people really cared about the Legends Road Zenkais besides that Guild Group, but for me in particular, they came together when in the Zenkai era. So talking about Red Gohan, the LF Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, Namek Goku, and LF Super Saiyan 3 all had a Zenkai, and I used to run, and I know this sounds crazy, Legends Road in ranked to get to the top 1000 because I ran out of options. And yes, that actually worked. It was extremely hard, but I think back in the day you could get away with using, I would say, random ass characters. Like I used Vegeta Clan as well, blast-based Vegeta Clan, which I know nobody has any idea how that's supposed to look like back in the day, because the Zenkais ruled the game, and I didn't play Zenkais besides the Legends Road because they were free to play and easily accessible. And yeah, I did that. I won actually with that. It sounds crazy to say. Unfortunately, I don't have as many screenshots of that to prove you that, but I have some which I probably blend in this video, so you guys know what I'm talking about. But yeah, but sadly now at this point, if you look at the past event exclusive characters, I mean, the only ones that were really kind of relevant were, I would say, looking at here, that Vegeta was kind of good. That 18. 6th anniversary was fine. That Raditz wasn't bad. I think that Piccolo was also interesting. What else? Yeah, it's kind of getting to more and more to the point where the most event exclusive sparking even as well are not that interesting. And even now, now we're in an anniversary, and we got like at this point 2 event exclusives and 1 before the anniversary, and they all have been crap. Now obviously they can fix this, but to be honest, when it comes to this, I don't think they know what they're doing. And the reason I'm saying this is, for one, if you look at the damage card from this character, for example, who has 150, which I don't think is high enough, and then we look at this character who has like, what, 110. Keep in mind that Demon King Piccolo already existed, the LF one, and they adjusted his damage card, and they still gave these guys less damage card than him. And now this guy's 150. I don't know why they didn't just straight up give, for example, this guy 150 as well. I even think that's still low enough, because if I'm looking at 150, I'm looking at Nappa. Nappa has 150 damage card and has higher defenses than his Gohan, so that's bad. Number 2. I, by the way, never talked about this Gohan before, but I'm just gonna do it quickly now. He has no cover node besides on his green card, and it's only for free time accounts, and this is what I've been saying about all these free-to-play characters. Why the hell do they have free time accounts on cover node in a game where all people get 5 or more? Like, don't know why, don't know what they're thinking. It's extremely stupid, but the Legends does, and nothing else to say. And to top it all off, this Gohan needs 60 time accounts to be usable. 60. It's in this game an eternity. I don't know what they expect you to do 60 time accounts at this point. You need 60 time accounts to get card draw speed. Level 1. Not level 2, level 1 card draw speed. There's no other ways to draw extra cards. Card draw speed in this game is the bare minimum in this game. And he has no other cover node than his green card. And the question is, why would you use his green card when you have other units, looking at LF, Vegeta, or even Nappa, who have better greens? Why would I use it on this Gohan? I don't know. So yeah, this is what they do with event exclusive characters. They just simply make them bad. Like that Golden Freezer, all he had is like, I have Death Boss, which are not that crazy. Like, yeah, okay, you remove Vanish, but doesn't matter as much. And maybe one match every 5 matches you can get big usage for this, but not really. Jiren, I don't know what's his purpose is, to be honest. And this Gohan 60 time accounts is trash, and then he becomes a usable unit, which I could just slap other blue units in and do a better job. I would rather use, I would use Gohan and Trunks and have a better unit than this guy. Like, the 60 time accounts, he needs to get his abilities at 60 time accounts where my Gohan and Trunks can maybe revive and have the harder hitting blue card. So yeah, that's the sad reality with one event exclusive characters as well. And they used to have been really good, have interesting uses. I mean, this Vegeta with his login was really interesting. Him with his blue card and his not paralyzed, but like immobilizing green card. Her with the multiple blue cards that give you Dragon Balls and so on. Like, or this 18 with Dragon Ball Destruction, Rainbow Gaining, and support and everything. Like, there have been really good event exclusive characters in this history in this game, but I think they also seem to start dropping the quality of these guys for no reason. But maybe Legends Festival is gonna prove me wrong and they're gonna bring back at least some viable units. I think again, this Vegeta, this 18 last year were good examples of what they could have done. But sadly for now, it seems like they're also gonna like extreme characters falling down to the TOP category, because at least the first time they release on TOP, they're usually around A tier, A or S even, so they're very good. And obviously with modern stats and everything and abilities, they're obviously good with TOP at the start, but I think afterwards they're dropping down, but I'm not sure. But yeah, this is the history of the event exclusives and extreme characters. Sorry if it didn't sound like very entertaining. Yes, there's not much actually to say. Then they used to be interesting, now they're just like whatever in TOP. But let me know what you guys think about the extremes and the event exclusive characters. Do you guys have still hope that they're gonna make them better? What is your favorite event exclusive or extreme character and why? I would be very interested to know that. Mine has been, I mean, for event exclusive, I actually have to say probably that's Tatiana Trunks. For bias reasons. But for extremes, if I had to choose, honestly, and no, I'm not gonna say Vegeta this time actually. It has to be either this Broly or actually that Cell. What I really liked about that Cell is the amount of debuffs he gave when you switched. That's the one thing. And his blue card. His blue card actually had main scene for everyone for 10 time accounts. So yeah, I really like that one. But let me know what you guys think and see you guys in the next one.